Hello everyone. As you can tell by the title, this is going to be a very different video. This is a more of a personal video. I want to talk about something I was diagnosed with 10 months ago. I was diagnosed with an illness called functional neurological disorder, or FND for short. The idea of this video is to discuss my symptoms and try and raise awareness of the condition, because it's a very misunderstood condition. It's a very, it's not something that a lot of people have heard of. I had no idea what it was before I was diagnosed. So yeah, I'm just hoping that this video will raise awareness and help those out there who also have this condition. So basically what it is, functional neurological disorder, it is a condition where the nervous system doesn't function properly. So the signals that your brain sends to your muscles to move, they don't send properly, or they just get kind of muddled up. No one knows what causes it. There isn't any cure for it. There's very few treatments available for it. I mean, I think some people benefit from physiotherapy, but I don't know if that really helps in the long term. I think it might only help in the short term. In my case, it did anyway, but it affects people differently, so physiotherapy might be beneficial to some people with it. I think the best way to think about it is it's a lot like multiple sclerosis. It's basically the cousin of MS. I mean, it mimics a lot of MS symptoms, so that's why it can make it difficult to get a diagnosis, because it tends to mimic symptoms of other conditions like MS or Parkinson's disease, something like that. So my symptoms began back in January or February of 2018. I began to get, my left leg began to feel very weak, and it was also feeling quite numb. That numbness and the weakness was also accompanied with pins and needles. And obviously at first when I felt that, I didn't really think much of it because it was very mild. Pins and needles, it's common, it's something that everyone gets, so I didn't think much of it. But what I was noticing is that I was getting the pins and needles and the numbness every day, a few times a day, every single day. And I was also feeling very fatigued. And obviously when I was feeling fatigued at first, I thought, okay, maybe I'll just start going to bed earlier. But it didn't make a difference, because when I went to bed earlier, or if I woke up a bit later, then it didn't make a difference. I was still feeling fatigued. So obviously it had nothing to do with what time I was going to bed or whatever. Over the next few months, my gait became quite awkward. I felt quite unsteady on my feet. I was, my leg was cramping up quite a lot, and my balance was pretty poor. I remember one occasion when I was walking down my hallway, and I lost my balance and fell right into the bathroom on the right-hand side. I couldn't explain it. I just completely lost my balance. Around July of 2018, my walking was getting worse. The position of my left foot had changed quite a bit. In fact, when I was walking, my left foot was at a 90-degree angle, and I couldn't control that. I couldn't stop it from getting like that. That's just what it was doing. I couldn't explain it. I had no explanations for it whatsoever. So I decided to pay a visit to my doctor, and he had no idea what was wrong. He said that I had a lot of tremor in my left leg, and muscle spasms. He recommended that I do physiotherapy. He thought that might help. So I had physiotherapy a couple of 2 weeks later. I also had a blood test, and the blood test came back as normal. But after my first physiotherapy session, the physiotherapist said to me that I don't think physiotherapy is right for you. I think you should see a neurologist. So obviously my intention was to see my GP so I can get referred to a neurologist. But I didn't see my GP straight away. And the reason why is because my symptoms were actually beginning to get a bit better. My walking was a bit more normal, my foot wasn't at a 90-degree angle anymore. I was still feeling a bit fatigued, but it didn't bother me as much as my leg or my other symptoms did. So, so my symptoms kind of calmed down for a little while, but then they came back very suddenly, and this was very concerning. This was in September or October of 2018. where I woke up and I was dragging my left leg when I was walking. My left foot was what you call foot drop. My left foot just I wasn't able to flex my left foot. I wasn't able to lift it up off the ground when I was walking, so it was just dragging along the ground, and that made me more prone to falling and tripping. Obviously, it made stairs a little bit difficult. Climbing stairs was a bit more difficult. And again, like all my other symptoms, I couldn't explain it. And then when that happened, when I developed foot drop, all my other symptoms started to come back as well. The cramping, tremor, pins and needles, fatigue, all of those. So I became very concerned. So I went to see my GP. My GP, like the other doctor, he had no idea what was wrong. He examined me, and he said what he said. Basically, what the other doctor said was that I had a lot of tremor, which I was put on medication for, and muscle spasms, cramps, and the foot drop. So he said, okay, I'm going to make a referral for you to a neurologist. The neurologist appointment took quite a while. In fact, it wasn't until February of this year, in 2019, that I was able to see him. So it was about 4 or 5 months after my GP appointment. And in between that appointment and the neurologist appointment, I noticed 2 brand new symptoms. The first symptom that I had was this, I can't remember what you call it. I think he called it bursa pain or something like that, in between my thumb and my first finger, around here. I was kind of massaging it a lot because it was this sudden sharp throbbing pain, and it was very painful. It didn't last very long, but when it did, it was very painful. And then I also noticed muscle twitching, which is called fasciculations. That was in my thigh and around my calf muscle, sorry. And I also noticed occasionally that I would stutter. I noticed the stutter, and I noticed that occasionally my speech would slur a little bit. So I finally saw my neurologist. He did a physical examination on me. He noticed the muscle twitching, and he said to me that sometimes muscle twitching, fasciculations, can sometimes be an indicator of something like motor neuron disease, or to anyone who's watching this from America or Canada, you will know it as ALS, or amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or Lou Gehrig's disease. But then he said he doesn't think it's that, which I was like, thank goodness for that. I mean, I'm 18 years old, and I'd be very lucky to get it at my age. Very young to get ALS or motor neuron disease. But after that, he told me I didn't have to have. Initially, I think I was supposed to have an MRI scan, and maybe a lumbar puncture or a spinal tap. But after the appointment, he told me that I had functional neurological disorder, which I had no idea. I did not know what it was about. And he explained to me that it was where the nervous system doesn't function properly, so it causes all kinds of symptoms. And it's not caused by a disease. It's not a disease. It's not caused by a disease, but it's caused by a problem with the function of the nervous system. If you look it up, then the best way to describe it would be to think of it as a computer, like a software problem rather than a hardware problem. So my brain is fine, but the nervous system itself isn't. So when I was diagnosed, I had a look at this website that my neurologist told me to look at, and I became very depressed because the amount of symptoms that it can potentially cause and the amount of symptoms that it has caused me, I didn't realise how bad it could really be. It said that you can experience paralysis. I don't think complete paralysis, but maybe partial paralysis of a limb, like the hand or the leg or something. Seizures, weakness, which I already have, fatigue, which I already have, bladder and bowel changes. Bowel changes I do have. I was diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome recently. Problems with walking, foot drop, all the symptoms that I did have, and vision problems. I used to have 20/20 vision, and now I wear glasses because my vision got worse. But yeah, it's very hard to live with. It's because no one understands it. No one knows how to cure it. You'll often get a lot of ignorant people commenting saying, "Oh, how come you can walk alright one day, but the next day you might need a wheelchair or a walking stick or some kind of aid." And because the symptoms typically wax and wane, they come and go. They can go away suddenly. They can go back suddenly. That's often what happens. I found I was lucky enough that I came across a support group on Facebook for people with functional neurological disorder, and that group is very supportive. It's for people in the UK. It's a very supportive group. I mean, we all understand each other, we all can relate to each other, and we all can give each other full support. So that's a great group to be a part of. Excuse me. They also sent me this booklet about functional neurological disorder, which explains the symptoms, what it is, diagnosis, and treatment. Even though, like I said, there's not much treatment available, but you know, certain things that might be able to help the symptoms a little bit. I was diagnosed with severe depression in April, so 2 months after my diagnosis of functional neurological disorder. I mean, I already had depression before my diagnosis, but obviously when I got the diagnosis, I became extremely depressed. It's like living in a strange world where no one understands you because it's such a misunderstood condition, you know, and it's pretty hard, I gotta tell you, it's pretty hard. But I'm just hoping that this video will help raise awareness for the condition, because that's what I really want to do. And it's very important that we do raise awareness for the condition because it can help provide better treatment, better care, which is definitely needed for an illness like this. But yeah, so that's my illness. That's the symptoms I've been experiencing, and I will post more videos to update you guys if I get any new symptoms, or you know, if I'm just not having a very good day, and I will just talk about it and talk about how I deal or try to deal with it. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and to anyone out there who has functional neurological disorder, I hope that this has helped you, and I hope this will help raise awareness. And feel free to leave a comment, and you know, if you happen to have it, and yeah, we can discuss maybe how to help one another, how to support one another. And I will also leave a link in the description to the functional neurological disorder support group for anyone in the UK who has it, or anyone else out there who has it in whatever country you're living in. And so yeah, thank you for watching, and have a good day. Oh, actually, before I do end the video, I was just about to end it then, I've got to mention one other thing. Sometimes it can also affect my hands, which obviously you people who watch my channel, you will know that I am a speed cuber, which means I solve the Rubik's Cube as fast as I possibly can. So obviously when it affects my hands, it's difficult because I can't speed cube. Luckily, it doesn't affect my hands too much. My hands are okay at the moment. A little bit stiff around here, but other than that, they're okay. So I can still speed cube, just maybe not as fast as I normally can. I mean, I normally average around 20 seconds, but I'm averaging a bit slow at the moment because of the stiffness. But yeah, so yeah, thank you for watching, and have a good day.